Hi, I'm Vanessa Vicaria, aka The Math Guru, and you're listening to Math Therapy, a podcast that helps guests work through their math traumas one problem at a time. Whether you think you're a math person or not, you're about to find out that math people don't actually exist. But the scars that math class left on many of us definitely do. And don't worry, no calculators or actual math were involved in the making of this podcast. Hi! Okay. So today on the podcast, we have Liz Idowu, who is legit one of the kindest, sweetest, most caring, and most math traumatized people I have ever met. Liz is our admin manager here at The Math Guru, and it's funny because she talks to parents and kids every damn day about, you guessed it, math, yet until recently, she has always been terrified of it. Liz comes from a world of performing arts and wellness and sees her role here at The Math Guru as an amazing opportunity to connect with different students from all walks of life. How fucking sweet is that? She really believes that her experience as a wellness instructor, which focuses on the yoga practice and philosophies, has allowed her to fluidly absorb our philosophy that there is no such thing as a math or science person. She has such a positive attitude, and you're going to hear some serious math trauma work today, guys. Because honestly, I've seen a lot of things, but I had never seen someone who legit blocked out years of high school math until I met Liz. All right, let's dig into it. Today on Math Therapy, we have Liz, and Liz is actually the general manager here at The Math Guru, and she's also a great yoga teacher, a spin instructor. What else do you do? Like everything. A motivational speaker for all of us here.
I try to be a part of the support team.
Definite support staff. And so the reason we have Liz on the podcast is because, how long have you worked here now? Like
about
over 2 years, right?
Yeah.
And that's 2 years in which you have been denying that you ever took grade 11 math.
No, it was grade 10.
Grade 10.
Grade 10.
Is that what you're
grade 11, I for sure didn't take. But grade 10 was...
Okay, so right. Liz has been denying that she ever took grade 10 math. And we here, since we know the curriculum very well, we know that you have to take grade 10 math in order to graduate. So we have been a little curious about the fact that Liz insists she never took it. And then what happened? You called your sister? How do we confirm that?
I had to call a friend. I was so certain because I went to an art school that must have been the reason why I didn't have to take grade 10 math. Because clearly I would have remembered such a subject. But I had to talk to a friend where we were in the same grade and we had almost all of the same classes together. And we both had this similar relationship to math. So I was like, hey, did you take grade 10 math by any chance? Maybe she took it in summer school.
Right.
And she confirmed, indeed, we had to, and there was no way getting around it. Apparently, we were in class together.
Right. Okay, so that is how deep Liz's math trauma stretches, shall we say. So, yeah, this is why we have her on Math Therapy. So Math Therapy, as you guys all know, is all about unpacking the trauma that gets associated with people's math experiences that so many adults and kids obviously carry with them, but many adults carry with them throughout their lives, and it affects them in so many ways other than mathematically. And Liz is one of those people who has had enough trauma with math that she's literally blocked an entire year out of her life. So why don't you start by telling us about your relationship with math? Do you like math? What's the vibe?
I mean, I definitely have a different relationship to math now than I did even just 2 years ago.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely do. I actually borrowed a book from The Math Guru. Not 2 years ago, but last year. I'll bring it back anytime.
What a book.
It's the one, I don't remember the title of the book. It's black, blue, and white. But like when you open up the book, it looks like a notepad. And so you can actually see all the different math equations, and it feels like you're reviewing your own notes.
Oh, is it the small fat notebook thing? That one? Okay, I love that
notebook. Yeah, and it's just like it feels very casual.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel...
I wish I'd written that. Yeah. I really like the style of that. Like when I was writing my math book, that was one of the first ones I picked up, and I was like, shit, I should have just written this one. So, yeah.
Well, different styles, but it really made me feel very comfortable in terms of feeling like I was reviewing someone's notes, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's just this, it's just that. Which felt a lot more accessible, and also because I was able to go from like a lower grade level all the way up to things I wasn't confident about, but now understood it better. I don't know what went through my mind when I was actually in school. Of course, the craziness of life.
Okay, well, tell me about your math experience.
Well, I had math in obviously elementary, middle, and then high school.
Okay.
But just every single time I had difficulties with a math question or a math test coming up, I definitely had anxiety around it. My sister, who you mentioned before, was the godsend, who basically kind of semi-informally tutored me. Because she had to, because she was my sister.
And so were you like not doing well at math?
I wasn't doing well, no.
Only like ever?
Well, I mean, grade 1 was great.
Okay.
And I mean, I think I was rocking it until about grade 7-ish.
Oh, okay, but that's a long time to be rocking it.
Yeah, no, I felt good about math for a while. And then, grade 8 was like, Then grade 9 was very challenging. And I don't know if it's because I moved from a totally different school district or why that jump happens, but grade 9 was very challenging. And that's where I thought it ended. But apparently grade 10 was on another level.
Okay, so what was happening? Like, do you remember any, like, experiences specifically, or do you just remember, like, struggling with it?
I do remember struggling with it. I do remember my grade 9 math teacher, who will not be named.
This is how it always goes.
It really does. And I remember doing the homework. It wasn't one of those things where I just didn't do the work. I remember doing the homework, but I remember procrastinating a lot.
Okay.
Because obviously it wasn't something I wanted to do. And there were tests that I definitely sat down. I'm talking about grade 9 clearly. Yeah. But there were tests that I sat down with, and it's one of those things where you did all your questions that you knew the answers to, and then staring blankly at the ones that you couldn't figure out why you couldn't answer it. Even though I had already done practice questions of the same similar material, and it was frustrating. And that's what I relate to it now. Like, it was just frustration all the time, where I just kind of detached from the experience completely.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay, and like, tell me about your teacher. What was the deal?
Well, it was one of those situations where it was a math teacher who wasn't exactly passionate about the subject matter that he was teaching. I mean, he was a math teacher that was also a gym teacher.
Oh, yeah, one of the math teacher, gym teachers.
Exactly. Not to say that that's the case for every math / gym teacher, but, he had a very monotone voice. He was like, this is what we're going to do. Here's your notebooks, da-da-da-da-da. And I did have a sit-down moment with him by his invitation. About, refocusing my math skills and what have you. And it was difficult. But I really feel like maybe if he was a little bit more passionate about the subject, maybe I could have seen it in a different light.
Mm-hmm. And so did you pass grade 9?
I passed grade 9.
Okay.
And then apparently made it to grade 10. But
I have no recollection.
I remember it was my lowest grade.
So now, years later, here you are working at the Math Guru. What did you... tell us your experience, like, just coming into it.
Coming into math or the guru? Like, you owe me on this?
Yeah. Yeah, when we were talking about you working here, how did your experience with math, like, factor in? Were you like...
Well, when I first contemplated, I was like, okay, this is a subject matter of which I'm not comfortable
And wait, just so for everyone knows, like, Liz is our manager / admin staff, so she doesn't need to be, like, teaching math, but you often have to talk to parents and kids about math, right? All the time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And one of the biggest things is, one of the biggest things we face is parents and kids who are terrified of math, who are doing poorly at math, who feel frustrated with math. So, like, who feel a lot of the ways you felt. Mm-hmm. Okay, so sorry, back to you.
No, yeah, I walked in and I got to admit, at that moment, I was thrilled that I wasn't going to be tutoring math. But I knew that I would have an opportunity to see it from the other side. So I could sit down with empathy or sit down with the same kind of vision of knowing how it feels to jump into a subject matter you're definitely not comfortable with, but know it's something that is important to your life to conquer. So yeah, I was interested in the math element, the science element too. That was happening here. I have a physics story of which we can talk about at another time.
Oh my God, let's hear it right now.
Well, I did back in my day. There was OAC.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I guess I really had to have done grade 10 math because I was allowed to do...
You did do grade 10. I know. I actually feel like you did grade 11 math.
I couldn't have possibly. But
I really don't think you were allowed to drop out before grade 11.
Are you serious?
Well, like, I feel like we can Google this, but I'm like 99% positive you had to take grade 11 math.
At this point, I need to take, like, the transcript out. Like, how could I have forgotten 2
Well, do you
years?
have your transcript?
I mean, I didn't bring it, but now I wish I had. But
okay, go on with your story while I Google this.
well, I was allowed to take OAC physics.
Oh my God, Liz, you for sure took grade 11 math.
I don't remember taking that for sure if I don't remember grade 10.
Okay, so what about physics? What happened?
Oh, well, I jumped into that, and, of course, so much math involved in physics. I didn't know about that at the time, but I thought, you know what, I really wanted to continue on with science. Like, I had taken biology. I felt, physics makes sense. It's logical. How does a ball drop? Figure it out, the math behind it. I figured, okay, this is math that I could probably use in life more than all the letters involved in my life. Not the case. Stepped into that class and had the same kind of experience where I was like, oh my goodness. One, I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the foundational information of which I needed to be in that course.
Right. But you took the physics courses before, right?
I took previous physics courses, but I didn't take grade 12 physics.
How, Liz?
I know, but how did they allow me to take OAC physics?
I
asked about it.
Need your transcript. I need to see your transcript.
Okay.
This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, go ahead.
I'm completely open to providing it as evidence.
So now you're in OAC physics and you don't know anything.
Didn't know anything. I had a couple conversations with our Mr. Teacher.
Okay.
And yeah, I ended up letting that dream go.
Okay.
And left that course in the 30s. But I was a little shocked that I was able to jump into that class without having the support system that I needed previously, which made me think that obviously there wasn't that much attention put into making sure that students felt confident in that subject material. It was just like, hey, you want to take this subject? Sure.
Well, this is interesting because obviously, like, if you look at your job right now and what our students are doing, there are prerequisites, right? Like, it's like you've got to pass grade 10 to go to grade 11. But one thing I will say is there's a difference between, getting a 50 in grade 10 and going on to grade 11 and getting an 80 in grade 10 and going on to grade 11.
Yeah.
So even though, as you're kind of saying, there is attention placed on whether or not you have a prerequisite, we don't seem to really care if kids have a foundation. No. So like, we're like, oh cool, you got a 50 in grade 10, you can go into grade 11. But that pretty much, this happens at lower grades too. That kind of means that student is going to feel like shit for the rest of their math career, because going into grade 11 knowing only 50% of grade 10 is not going to work out very well.
Exactly. You're just kind of on survival mode for the rest of the grade levels.
Exactly. So that is something that can definitely lead to somebody forming this opinion that they're just not good at math, because they're technically allowed to pass through the system, but they're not really given the tools to do it. So you're right. That's a good way of saying it. They're in survival mode. They're not able to actually enjoy anything or to learn. They're just trying to get by.
Exactly.
So what about, like, did you kind of just think that you were bad at math? Like, what did you think?
I thought I was horrendously bad at math. And the interesting relationship I had with it too is that everyone in my family excelled in math.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, my mom was an accountant. My dad studied economics and business management. My sister was like A++ in math, which is why I was glad she was my tutor, unofficially. But she never got below a 90 in math. No one in my family ever did, except little me. Came in, and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm just not a math person. Right. I'm an artistic person.
There we go.
So I thought
my favorite dichotomy.
I know.
Which is bullshit, everyone.
It is, but at the time I was like, you know what? I won't need it in my life. Who needs to be able to calculate a tip? I don't know, but I won't need math in my life. And now I do wish I could jump back into that old self and say, you know what? You can do this. And math isn't for particular people or what have you. It's just a matter of finding someone that can show you the relationship that you particularly would have with that subject material. And there wasn't that passion. I remember my grade 5 math teacher was amazing.
Really?
Oh yeah. In terms of, like, I didn't understand why I loved being in that class, but it was also the personality. It was the passion in what she was explaining, and also, it was interactive.
This is so funny too, because I know you. Like, a lot of the guests I have on the podcast, like, I'm meeting for the first time, but because I know you, I'm like, oh my god, this makes so much sense, because you're such a, like, into it, right? Like, you're all about people's energy, and you're such a people person. Like, that's why you're so great in your position here, right? Because you are so empathetic, and, like, you really relate well to people, and you vibe off of them. That for someone like you in particular, and I'm sure there are most people read people's energy and like, even if they don't know they're doing it.
Unconsciously, yeah.
Yeah, how much of a difference it would make to have a teacher that really gave off nothing, right? Like you're saying that grade 10 teacher, like that would affect someone like you so much. Right? You always have, like everyone has had like that math teacher.
Of course.
Right? That like, and it's just so funny because it's as though we don't place that much of an emphasis on the personalities of teachers. Like they go through teachers college, you see that they can teach things and that they know the curriculum content, but I often wonder why personality isn't like a bigger factor.
Oh yeah, or at least like some kind of like one, they have to take their teacher's exams, something that kind of relates into that direction of how do you connect with students? Like what would make you want to be a teacher? Like what brought them into that direction?
It is very, very strange. Okay, so tell me about how working here has changed your perception of math. Like tell me about that. You were saying that now you see yourself differently.
Well, now I can see the fun side of math. Like we never had any of that. At least I didn't in high school. By the time I had gotten to that grade level, I can see like in this environment, it's like social media. Math is involved in social media where like there's contests and like you get excited about getting the right answer and how you came to it. The journey is important. Before, it never felt like a journey. It just felt like a step process that you had to just get done in order to move on to the next. It didn't really feel like an experience. And so now being able to observe all these experiences and the journey from I don't feel confident to oh my gosh, why can't I do math all day long? For some folks is awesome.
And like, do you see yourself in a lot of the students that you kind of enroll here and whose progress you see?
100%, and then a few more on top of that.
Okay, that's
don't get me wrong. I know the whole 100% can go beyond, but I feel like there's a little bit of infinity moments that I'm having.
Oh my God, look at you. I'm unstoppable.
Well, I'm trying. But yeah, absolutely. Down to just like the calmness of realizing that, oh my gosh, I can accomplish this, to the breakdown of why can't I get it? Like I've definitely seen the different dynamics, and to now be able to see how it could have felt on the other side of the coin had a place like the Math Guru existed, or maybe there's something similar that existed in my day. I don't know, because I never really ventured out there to find out. But to know that something like a support system like that could exist, that could make something that seems very cut and dry, because it is, in terms of like, there is a question and there's a solution that everyone comes to. It's not like it's, liberal arts where, No,
but there are often more than one way to get to an answer. But in school, we normally don't emphasize that, right? We're teaching everyone steps instead of being like, come up with the answer in whatever way. We're not really teaching that part of math, which is the most exciting part. And especially you as someone who identifies as being creative, that would have been such an exciting thing for you, because math really, problem solving is all about creativity.
Absolutely.
I mean, right, like we were just talking about like the manhunt for the 2 missing teens, but like not that this is going to be relevant anymore, but whatever, all of those, when the police are out searching for something, like that's part of the reason I'm so like fascinated by this. People are like, why do you care? Stop talking about it. But I'm like, I wonder what algorithms they're using. Like, I wonder what they're using to find 2 people who are hiding from the military in Canada. Like, imagine all of the factors you'd have to take into consideration. Like, there's a process, there's a plan. They're like, it's all about creativity, and that it's all math. Yeah. Problem solving, looking at maps, looking at how they would be if they're on foot, how they're getting around. Like, that is all math.
But absolutely.
So yeah, it's unfortunate that like we don't really approach it that way, because I think then those who kind of enjoy that creativity a little more would really, really flourish, right? And they would really see kind of the beauty behind it.
Agreed. And that's the higher math, of which is usually so difficult to jump into. That's exactly what the examples that happen in everyday life, the ones that we thought that weren't going to be related to our everyday lives, is exactly what we do see every day.
Now, you were mentioning that, back, this is what every kid thinks, obviously, is that you're never going to use math. How do you feel now?
Oh, I do use it every day, multiple times a day.
Like in what?
I mean, one, there was that example of just calculating a tip or what have you. But also, like you were talking about mapping, trying to figure out like how fast can I get to a particular location if I'm going downtown through traffic versus if there's no traffic. I mean, there's some unconscious calculations that I'm also using that I probably couldn't even tell you right now.
That's awesome, but that's exactly it. I think that's really a good way of putting it. Like, I don't think people realize that they're doing math.
Well, no, because it doesn't feel like math when you don't see a textbook in front of you, or
Right.
You're not actually writing with a pen and paper how to calculate it. But a lot of it is mental math, and a lot of it is supported now through technology. Of which, wouldn't it be fascinating if we could actually do it within our minds and pen and paper rather than relying on technology? Sometimes that could always fail, but to have that knowledge is powerful.
Absolutely. And you said now that you feel like you could do it, right? Like that you're like, you've kind of realized that. Did that change at some point? Like did you always believe that you could do it? Or was there kind of a turning point from when you were like, I'm just not good at math to, well, I actually would be capable if I had the right resources?
Oh, definitely the transition between grade 8 and grade 9. Grade 8 felt challenging, but accessible. It was just like, I have to really pay attention and I have to kind of figure it out. But grade 9, it felt like, what's happening?
Impossible. And how about now, though? Now you feel like you could learn it.
Oh, well, now I understand that I probably just didn't have a strong foundational information in order to move forward into that grade 9 level. And I didn't try to look back. I was just struggling at the level that we were at on that day in class. And then the next day only progressed from there. And because I wasn't working on homework, I then couldn't move forward.
And do you as an adult, I always wonder this, like, do you feel like you believing that you were incapable of doing math affected you in other ways? Like, do you think that affected your confidence at all, like just in life or your sense of self-worth?
Of course it did. To feel like I can't do something can relate to so many different other things, and all of a sudden I relate something being challenging as I can't do it, as opposed to feeling like, it's challenging. Okay, so how are we going to scoop this up? How are we going to figure this out?
Right.
It could feel very defeating if it constantly feels challenging and the solution feels like it's always going to be beyond one's grasp, because it just unconsciously will trigger.
Yeah, and that's kind of like why I love talking to people about this, because I think people, I mean, you seem like very aware of it, but I think math is always this, well, but still, whatever. Math is something that many people feel they're incapable of. And the idea of actually believing that there's something, like this idea of a math person, like actually believing you were born almost like with an incapacity to learn math is scary. That's a scary thought to have, because it's like, what else are you incapable of doing then? Right? You know what I mean? So I think it's really important to realize that, like you said, maybe you didn't have the resources or you had a bad teacher or whatever it is. It's not that you are like missing a gene.
Exactly.
Okay, well, this has been amazing. Like, really, really good insight, and thanks for sharing all your math secrets. A few more questions I just want to ask before we kind of wrap up. What's something that has kind of helped you with your previous math experience when it comes to talking to parents or students about their struggles with math? Like, I guess, I'm thinking it's kind of like really incredible. Like, you really can literally empathize with students and parents since you've been there. Do you have any like key things that you tell them, or do you think that makes a difference? Like when you're speaking with someone who will now say to you, my daughter or son can't do math.
Well, one, often the student, and I can say this myself, will relate not being able to do math to an IQ level or an intelligence level, right? Because when someone says, I'm not artistic, that doesn't really equate to, oh my gosh, you're not smart enough to be artistic. But when someone says, I can't do math, it's like are you smart enough to do math? There's that question. So often when the parents will talk about their kids, they'll say, they don't feel confident. But then the other comment towards that is that they feel stupid.
So interesting. And I've been having this debate with my friends for so long. Like, what is it about math that makes it the thing that makes you smart or not?
Exactly.
What is it?
I really don't. What I feel is because the subject matter seems on the surface to be so cut and dry. Like there's a question, there's an answer. I feel like, well, if you don't have the right answer, and as you mentioned before, there could be so many different ways of approaching it, so many different journeys to get there. But if you can't get the right answer, it feels like, oh, you're not smart enough to get to the answer.
Yeah, it is so fascinating that it's math that we equate with intelligence, whereas like the most beautiful painting ever, it's just like that person's an artist or creative, and you would never say that person's so smart because of it.
Exactly.
That's so weird.
It is. It's quite weird. Whereas, like, they're all things that we do mentally that we express on a physical level. But yet, yeah, that relationship. But I mean, there's so many different things. This could be a longer podcast if we got into this, like how we perceive different subject matters, and from like different genders to different ages or different cultures.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to one culture, to be artistic could be so highlighted in
highly
everything.
regarded, and just
Exactly. And then in another culture, being artistic is like nothing. You have to be amazing at math and sciences in order to be in that place of elevation. So it all depends on perspective.
So what do you say to parents that kind of bring that up?
Oh yes, of course. Well, I would just express to them, hey, I completely understand, and I have said I completely understand what you're saying. I was in an artistic place, and I thought I wasn't able to tap into math and sciences, and I discovered that it's just as accessible to tap into math and sciences as it is to tap into artistic fields that exist everywhere. So I tell them that it's just a matter of them feeling a lot more confident on the foundational information that will allow them to excel beyond that. And so if they're coming to me and saying my kid has 53 in the subject matter, barely passing or even lower, and maybe not passing the course, and that's okay. As we build beyond, as we build those foundational information or those foundational steps, we'll take them as steps. I mean, we're not going to jump into a session and all of a sudden get 90.
Right.
But we're going to celebrate the small victories.
I love this.
Until it becomes a big victory.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. Some of my guests have been talking about the difference between progress and perfection, and that idea that we really in the school system don't celebrate progress. So like going from a D to a C is actually huge progress, right? And it takes, you have to get to a C before you're going to get to an A.
Exactly.
So I think that's great. I think that's really important and something we're really missing.
It's really all just a matter of perspectives.
Yeah.
Because the confidence will build in the student once they realize that they are improving.
Exactly.
I mean, what feels like impossible is the belief that one cannot improve. Not that they aren't improving, but that they cannot. It feels not possible, so why bother?
Right.
And that's
I love the way you
issue.
said that. Yeah, that was really great. Okay, I'm going to ask you 2 questions I ask everyone on the podcast, and then I'm going to give you your prescription as your math therapist.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so my first question is, what would you say to someone who says, I'm not a math person?
I'd say, who is?
Ooh.
I mean, like, who is? And if they name me someone that I can relate to, or that I know, like if they said, I don't know, Albert Einstein.
I was just about to be like, Einstein, yeah.
Then I could say, okay, well, what makes him a math person? They'll probably say something like, well, he discovered this, he discovered that, he discovered that. And I'll say, yeah, but there are other things that you've discovered. What have you discovered that another person hasn't discovered? Somehow you were able to come to that discovery, and somehow there was probably math involved. You just weren't conscious of it.
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
Well, the difference between a math person and a non-math person, I feel, is that the math person knows that math got them there. Whereas a non-math person, in terms of perspective, not that there is a non-math person.
She's using a lot of air quotes, guys.
There are air quotes, yes. But the non-math person doesn't realize how much math is in their life yet.
That is you're just like throwing out zingers right now. That's good.
I just feel that.
I love it. Okay. Second question. What would you change about the way math is taught in school?
I mean, be interested. One, don't stick a teacher in a subject that they're not actually passionate about, because then they're going to transfer it, whether it's consciously or unconsciously, that same energy to the people in the space. I even feel like even those who might have been excited about the subject matter can turn if all of a sudden at that grade level or at that time in their life, the wrong type of expression was sent their way. You know, I feel like there should be some kind of a check-in, whether it's yearly or every 2 years, with teachers that teach the subject that they teach. I'm not saying restricted to math. And say, hey, are you passionate about this? What do you want to do differently this year? So that you can always know that the teacher's interested. If they're going to bring their creativity into whatever subject course that is, then they're still interested in it. If they're not, and they're just doing it to pay their rent, it might be a time to make some kind of a switch.
I love it. It is. I think that's just so important, and really we need to. We already do. We emphasize the fact that the teacher can make such a difference, but I don't feel like there was actionable items on that. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, the teacher makes such a difference." And then you're like, "Cool," but like I have the worst math teacher, and she told me I was going to fail, and people are like, "Yeah, well the teacher makes a big difference," and you're like, "Cool, can we do something about this?" So I think that's a cool idea. Actually having check-ins with teachers, actually incorporating that into part of like the education or part of like even the examination process. All awesome. Yeah. Okay, well, we are at the part of the episode where I, as your math therapist, give you a prescription.
Okay.
And I think I have a really good one for you.
All right.
So I was going to ask you, is there something particular in math that you, like, never could understand and have always wanted to learn?
Something particular.
Like, was there that one thing where you were like, I just never got this, or, like, it just seemed impossible? I mean, I know you've blacked out on both your math experience.
Exactly. So now I'm channeling back. Like even in that book, I'm still at stuff that I do kind of remember doing before.
Like what about... Okay, I think, okay, we're going to find a concept to teach you.
Okay.
We need to figure out what it is that you've always struggled with or that you just like never could understand.
Parabolas.
So you remember doing it, but you hated it.
Yes.
Okay, so it's going to be parabolas, quadratics. That's what I failed. When I failed grade 11 math, it was parabolas. Parabolas is what screwed me. That's when things really went downhill for me.
Really?
Yeah.
Have we experienced similar journeys and I've completely just eradicated mine?
Yeah, I am concerned about you. Okay, so we are going to get Lindsay to teach you parabolas. That's going to be your prescription. She's going to teach you how to graph a parabola and what a parabola is, and you're going to do a full question on your own.
Okay.
And I feel like that's just to, I know you can do it, but I want you to actually do it to be like, holy shit, this whole thing I blocked out of my memory, I can actually do, and it's not that bad. Because parabolas now are my favorite part of the entire math curriculum.
Really?
I love parabolas. They're so easy. It makes so much sense. They're so fucking cool. And it's my favorite unit to teach always. But it's funny because that's when things really went downhill for me. I remember the quadratic formula. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a or whatever. And I remember coming out of a test in grade 11 and saying to my friend Emily, I was like, oh my God, that test was actually really easy. I never had to use that formula once. And she looked at me and she was like, you had to use it on every question. And I was like, oh shit, I got a 0 on that test. But anyways, so yeah. Okay, so we're going to get back to everyone with Liz's homework and her transcript. We're going to do a little investigating. Oh my God, your face right now.
Oh, yeah.
We'll do some research.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your insight. Honestly, it was a really nice, honest conversation and some really, really cool insight. Like, I really appreciated you sharing it. It's a good perspective, and I think a lot of people will take something away from it, and a lot of people can relate to you.
Oh, so. Lovely. I really appreciate this opportunity as well.
You work here, and you get to talk to parents about this every day. Mm-hmm. All right, thanks, and can't wait to see your homework.
Thanks.
Liz, love her so much. I think it's so cool that Liz, just being Liz, is really in touch with how feeling incapable at math has made her feel about facing other challenges in her life. It's so true for so many of us that like that feeling of I can't do it no matter what can translate to other things in life, and it's not cool. It's got to stop, guys. We can all do anything, and if you listeners feel this way because of math class, I am urging you right now to go out and learn something. Anything, I don't care what it is. Learn how to calculate a tip, learn how to divide a fraction, learn how to graph a parabola just like our gal Liz. And guys, guess what? Liz actually did learn how to graph a parabola. I walked into our tutoring space the other day and Liz was just like chilling with one of our tutors, excitedly learning all about parabolas. You can check out the fulfillment of that prescription over on our show notes at themathguru.ca/maththerapy, where we put all additional episode info every single week. I would love to say that we've posted a copy of her transcript up there too, so we can determine once and for all whether or not she took grade 11 math, but A, that's personal info, so guys, come on. And B, Liz still hasn't tracked down her transcript. But don't worry, we are determined to get our hot little hands on it, so stay tuned. As always, remember to follow us on all social media at The Math Guru. And, of course, a reminder that Math Therapy is hosted by me, Vanessa Vicaria, produced by Sabina Wax, and edited by David Kochberg. And our theme song is Waves by Goodnight Sunrise, which is my rock band. And guys, if you know someone who needs math therapy or just really desperately needs to hear someone else get math therapy, please share this podcast and please write a quick review on iTunes. Those two things actually make the biggest difference ever, and I am determined to change the culture surrounding math, and I really, 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 really need your help, so spread the word. That's all for this week. Stay tuned for our next episode out next Thursday.